Hey there, welcome to Hoskins World. In this video I'm going to be talking about the 5 most invincible companies. Now these are just my opinions. No company can actually be invincible, especially with all the competition that's out there, all the new startups coming in, and we also have laws that prohibit any kind of monopoly behavior within a company. So to drive that point home, I'm gonna show a cover from Forbes magazine. This cover was from 2007. I'm gonna put it up on the screen here. It says, Nokia, 1 billion customers. Can anyone catch the cell phone king? Now, we see what happened there. Of course, we all still walk around with Nokia cell phones, right? I'm actually shooting this video on a Nokia flip phone right now, as you can probably tell. But they were killed soon after by Apple, who just had a much better product and much better marketing and all that kind of stuff. So you just see that it's going to be really hard to hold on to a lot of customers for a long period of time, especially in the technology sector where things move really quickly. So let's get into the top 5 list. Coming in at number 5 is Procter Gamble. Procter Gamble is a consumer staples company. They're very diversified, so that's what makes them so strong and so hard to take down. Let me read you a list of all the brands under the Procter Gamble umbrella. We have Always, Aussie, Bounty, Braun, Charmin, Cheer, CoverGirl, Crest, Dawn, Downy, Febreze, Gain, Gillette, Head and Shoulders, Herbal Essences, Ivory, Joy, Loves, Mr. Clean, Old Spice, Oral-B, Pampers, Pantene, Puffs, Scope, Secret, Swiffer, Tampax, Tide. That's a lot of brands. So you can see why this company is so big. Procter & Gamble's worth $265 billion right now. And all these are household names. And, you know, if you go into your bathroom right now, you'll probably find 3 Procter & Gamble products or more. So you couldn't just go in and beat them on one product and then take out Procter & Gamble. You'd have to beat them on a lot of different products. And so that's why they're probably not going to go down anytime soon. Number 4 is Google. Google is a really hard company to understand, but they basically control the internet. So you have, the search industry, of course, and then their main thing is Google Ads. So they control a lot of the ads that you see when you're searching and doing other things. Another big one that they own is YouTube. YouTube is a huge business for them. It also brings in a lot of ads and some subscriptions and stuff like that. They also have Google Cloud, which is a cloud server and hosts a lot of the internet activity. They make hardware, Android. They have the Chrome browser, Google Play, Google Maps. So they're very diversified, again, like Procter & Gamble, and they're very strong in the areas that they're in right now, and it would be hard to take them down because, like I said, they basically control the internet, and you're not taking them down. They have $826 billion market cap right now, so they're one of the biggest companies in the world. They have $109 billion in cash, so that could go towards purchasing a lot of different companies that might threaten them in certain industries and just go to make them stronger. So number 3 is Johnson and Johnson. They're also consumer staples like Procter Gamble. Let me read you the brands that Johnson and Johnson owns: AccuView, Aveeno, Band-Aid, Benadryl, Clean and Clear, Johnson's Baby, Lactaid, Listerine, Lubriderm, Motrin, Neosporin, Neutrogena, Nicorette, Pepcid, Reach, Rolaids, Splenda, Stellara, Tylenol, Xarelto, and those are just the ones that you've heard of. And the reason I put them 2 spots ahead of Procter & Gamble, who's a very similar company, is that Johnson & Johnson, all those brands I just read off, that's only about 1/3 of their business. So the other parts of their business are medical devices that they sell to like hospitals and other healthcare companies. And then they have a lot of medicines that they produce too. So the only threat basically with them and Procter and Gamble is generic brands kind of taking some of the market share in grocery stores. But Johnson & Johnson, again, like Procter & Gamble, a huge diversified company. I'm sure if you go look through your house, you can find at least 3 things from Johnson & Johnson. They're a little bit bigger than Procter & Gamble. They're a $378 billion company. And just a lot of brands, a lot of different companies within that Johnson & Johnson umbrella. Number 2, we're getting down to the good stuff. Number 2 is Apple. And like the others, I'm sure you have at least 2 or 3 Apple products on you right now. Apple is a very special company. They have a lot of unique products, and they have a unique business model. And the reason I say that is because Apple does what I call the Apple bubble, where when a customer, let's say, buys an iPhone, they start to form that Apple bubble around them. And they have to buy the Mac, and they have to buy the AirPods and the watch, because all the Apple products sync perfectly together. Apple, they're very exclusive. They make cords and attachments that only work with other Apple products. They make apps that only work with other Apple products, and each of the products syncs perfectly together. They make their own operating systems. So once you've got 2 or 3 Apple products, you're kind of insulated in this Apple bubble, and you're very, very unlikely to buy another brand like Samsung or Microsoft or something like that. So that's what's so important about Apple. They also have that cool factor, and that just helps drive sales, especially on their higher end items. Apple is worth $961 billion right now. It's the second biggest company in the world. When I listed all the stuff that they sell, hardware, operating systems, apps, software, services like the App Store, iCloud, Apple Music, which is big. And then the biggest thing for them is right now they have $245 billion in cash just laying around at Apple. So this could go towards an acquisition, a big acquisition like maybe Tesla or something like that, a company that's being really innovative, and it would be easier for Apple just to pay cash for another company that's already built instead of starting from scratch in another industry. So that huge cash pile that they're sitting on, really insulates them from any big threats, because they could just buy that, or they could cover any debts or anything that they have. So that's why I think Apple is so strong. Number one is Amazon. I mean, what do you say about Amazon? Amazon is just too big. It's too bad. It's too widespread for anybody to knock it out. They eat every company that comes up. They just crush every company in their path. They either buy them or just run them straight out of business. Amazon is worth $944 billion right now, and they're just in so many different industries. They're in, of course, they sell the retail products on their website. That's their main thing. But they have so many other things. So subscriptions is a huge part of Amazon. Kindle and Audible. And their biggest one is Prime. Prime is really what hooks you in and keeps you at Amazon. And they it's sort of like the Apple bubble effect, where they hook you in with that Prime membership, and they try to sell you all these other things with the Prime membership. The AWS cloud service that they offer, they do a lot of logistics, a lot of their own logistics, so it would be hard for them to have any trouble with outside carriers, taking away from their profit margin or slowing down business. They have their electronics, Kindle, the Fire, and Echo, and then they have a lot of streaming, a lot of original content that's digital, and they're keeping up with, Netflix and Hulu in that area too. So any industry almost worth being in, Amazon is in it, and they're dominating. And I mean, it's crazy. They're just so widespread that you can't even touch them. They're so far ahead of these other four companies that I listed that they're never going to be touched for a long time. So I have a few honorable mentions to wrap up. Nike is really diversified across all the sports, basketball, football, track and field, everything like that. Every sport and every person, young or old, male or female, Nike has the perfect product for them. And the thing with Nike that's really special is that they continue to stay on the cutting edge of technology and on the cutting edge of style. And they're such a huge company, so they have this flexibility and mobility, but they also have the huge scale just to crush everybody with their good price points on good products. The only thing with Nike is that their business builds up a lot of inventory like any other business in the retail industry. And it's a low barrier to entry in the clothing business. So that's the only drawbacks to Nike. Another one is Disney. Disney is a lot more than you think it is. They own Walt Disney Pictures, but they also own Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm, which does Star Wars, and Touchstone. And then TV networks, they own ABC, ESPN, Freeform, Disney Channel, just to name a few. And then most of their revenues come from the Disney theme parks. They also do like cruises and resorts and stuff like that. So just revenue streams from all over the place for Disney. They own stuff that you didn't even know existed. But they didn't make the top 5. It was a close call between them and Procter Gamble. Disney didn't make the list because they are in the entertainment industry, an industry that's a lot more fast-moving than consumer staples. And then the last one I'll mention is Microsoft. Microsoft is currently the biggest company in the world, $962 billion. And they do a lot of different things. They do cloud, enterprise software, operating systems, Xbox, search, Internet Explorer. The reason Microsoft didn't crack the top 5 is because I believe all their big money-making stuff is sort of outdated now. Everything except for Microsoft Office has sort of been pushed aside by newer, fancier, better things recently, and that's why I just think that they're going to head downhill. Maybe not in the next 5 or 10 years, but I don't see them just really blowing up like I do for Amazon or Apple. So I know this has been a long video. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, go ahead and subscribe. If I left one out, leave it in the comments below, and I'll tell you why I left it out, or why it could potentially crack the list. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.